technical difficulties, you can reach out through the chat box, and our technical team will assist you. And for our in-house participants, please ensure that your phones are on silent mode, and we'll be conducting the session in a formal manner. So kindly refrain from any side conversations during the presentation. At the end of Mr. Grassl's presentation, we'll have a Q&A session. This will be your opportunity to ask any questions you might have about the tools and techniques discussed today. Please raise your hand or type your questions in the chat box, and I will relay them to Mr. Grassl. So over to you.
Okay, so I can start? Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for attending this webinar about enhancing behavioral research through video coding. I would like to talk a little bit about techniques and applications that are available in the field of video coding and video analysis, but I will start with a short introduction about myself, so just that you know who is talking. So yeah, my name is Reinhard Grassl. I'm head of sales department at Mangold International. I'm with the company since a little bit more than 20 years, and I'm responsible for all our worldwide sales activities. Mangold International is a German-based company. We are in the market since around about 30 years, and we provide customers in approximately 50 countries. And what we offer is soft and hardware, mainly for data collection and data analysis of human behavior. We have a few customers in animal behavior, but the main focus is definitely human behavior. And this can be a very wide range of different research areas. It can be at medical clinics, at universities, at research institutes. It's mainly used in psychology research. So everyone who wants to analyze any kind of behavior and wants to study how people behave, what they do, how they interact, what they talk, how they feel, what emotions they have, can use our tools. So the basic question when you do something like this is video-based behavioral observation necessary? Because if you want to study any kind of behavior and you want to analyze what is going on in your cases to get from data to result, you have, in our point of view, 3 options. First, you can simply ask your participants. Means you can hand out form, you can ask whatever you want. The problem in this case is that you only get answers to questions you ask. So if you forget to ask something, or if you do not include some information, all the information is absolutely lost, which is a huge problem in therapy sessions, in scientific research. On the other hand, the benefit of using forms is it's very easy to get results and statistics and compare the different participants. So that's option 1. Option 2 is you can measure. Means you can have heart rate, respiration, skin conductance, EEG recordings, whatever, or a simulator. You can measure everything. Good way to analyze behavior, but only one way to do it. Because if you have a result in heart rate and you know what the heart rate is, you need to bring this in combination with the behavior of the participants. And this is something you can only do with observation. And it doesn't matter if you have children playing, if you have a mother-infant interaction, if you have a therapy session, if you have a group of management team studies, you want to observe what's going on. And that's the challenge in this case. So what is observation in the real study? First thing is, the question is, why do we want to observe? Because we have questions. We want to find out what is going on, why someone is doing this and that, why someone responding in a special way. So that's why we need to observe. And the problem in a real project is that nothing is static. So we do not observe a picture. It's a real scenario or a video that we need to observe. So we need to understand what is going on. We need to understand the processes during the time of our observation. And the process is something we call it. It's a flow of related activities leading to maybe yet unknown result. So that's one explanation of how a process can be described. And if we take a deeper look in this sentence, we take out some of these words. The first one is activities, means something that is described clearly. So we need to find out verbal things, non-verbal things, gestures, mimics, emotions, any words that they used. So clearly described activities. These activities are related. So person one is doing something, person one is reacting with a special behavior, for example. So we have related activities. So we are getting a lot of information, and the results are expected or they need to be discovered. But the major challenge in observation study is that we have a flow of related activities, and that's the time. And by including the time information in a project, everything is getting really complicated because we get a lot of information and we need to understand what's going on in a live session or when we observe a video, and that makes everything complicated. So observation means we want to measure something in relation to time. And in our case, this something is behavior. So we want to measure behavior in relation to time. So first question is, how can we do this? If you want to observe a situation, doctor with a patient, two people are interacting, and you want to understand what they do, what they talk, why they behave like this and that, the easiest way would be to just take a seat, take paper and pencil, and make a live observation. So the problem is that the live observation has some limitations. First thing is there's a very limited human perception because if it's a live session and you want to understand why two people are interacting and what they do, it's extremely complicated to recognize all the different behaviors in a live session because you have one chance to really recognize everything. Second problem is that live observation cannot be paused or rewound. So you have only one chance to recognize everything. If some information is lost, this information will be lost forever. No way to rewind the live scenario and take a look again. It only works with a prior categorization, so it's not value-free. So similar to handing out forms, you need to have a form to do the live observation and just make commands or count information or whatever. It strongly depends on the training of the observer. So if you do not have an expert in this research area, it's extremely complicated to really recognize what is really going on in a live session. And last but not least, most of our clients are involved in any research project. So they're doing scientific studies. And the problem with live session is that no verification is possible. So everything is not reproducible. You have just one session and you need to believe what the live observer has noted and realized. There's no way to prove everything. That's why live observation is not really effective, and we do not recommend to use live observation if you want to study any kind of behavior. So the solution or the conclusion is, you will need to audio and video record everything. So you need to have one camera or multiple camera to record the behavior from different angles. Doesn't matter. It can be a very simple setup with just using a smartphone or a camcorder, or it can be a portable or a stationary lab at the university or wherever, where you recognize everything what's going on in a room. But you will have multiple cameras and you will end up with hours and hours of video recordings. And in such projects, the goal is not the recording, because again, you will simply end with hundreds of hours of video recordings. The goal in your project is you will need to turn these recordings into results. And to do this, you could use paper and pencil, you could use Excel or Word or whatever, but these tools are not really perfect for video coding and video analysis. And that's why we developed a software called Mangold Interact. Mangold Interact is on the market since 30 years. So it's a tool for solving this challenge, how to turn recordings into results. So that's now the Interact software. And to give a quick overview, Interact is a qualitative and quantitative video coding software. So it can be used for coding your video material, which, to be honest, is a very boring process because you watch a video and you press keys on the keyboard when something is happening. So you define a coding system with verbal things, non-verbal things, with emotions, with gestures, with activities, with words that are interesting for you, with any kind of behavior. And when you realize this behavior or this activity or whatever, then you press keys on the keyboard. And as you can imagine, in a real project, it is extremely complicated to be focused on 5 or 10 or 20 different behaviors at the same time. So that's why it's necessary to watch a video again and again. Be focused on just 2 or 3 codes, rewind the video, be focused on the next codes, and so on. So that's why I called it the boring part of video-based behavioral research. But after this coding or everything is done, you can use the functions in a software like Interact to analyze everything, to create statistics, to create visualizations, to really work with your data and include the results in your publications, in your papers, in a feedback for the participants, or whatever you want to do. So that's why we developed this Interact software, to have a better way of doing video coding instead of using Excel or paper and pencil. The Interact software is a cross-platform tool, so it works on Windows and Mac. I also have to say that Interact is not the only software for video coding and video analysis on the market, but that's the software we offer, and you are maybe in contact with other companies that also provide tools, but I would say the leading software in our field is called Interact. And even if you have just one license, you can switch between Windows and Mac if you have two different operating systems in your lab or wherever. Again, after this coding, Interact offers a lot of methods and a lot of statistics, analysis tools to turn your codings into results. Here you can already see a few of them. So for example, the one on the right side is called state space grid. I can give you an example just in a few minutes with a real live file. And here are a few more ways. Interact is open to Python, so you can use any Python script that is available on the market. So this offers a nearly unlimited amount of different ways to analyze and analyze your data. So it's very important to understand that Interact is not a coding tool. It's a tool to analyze your data. The coding is simple. You can do this with any tool, but analyzing these codings is pretty much complicated. So for example, in a real project, you could collect your data. Means you have a coding system, you collect verbal things, non-verbal things, gestures, and so on. So for example, someone coded here a mother and a child, and someone coded that every time the mother was smiling, every time the child was smiling, and also the gaze information. When the mother was take a look at the child, and the child responded to the mother, and also take a look to the mother. So with Interact, you can now find these co-occurrent behaviors, and the result would be they are smiling at each other. So you have a common smile. Mother and infant are smiling to each other. And then you could find out, is there a contingency behavior? For example, is there a positive vocalization of the child within 3 seconds after this common smile. Now it's getting to be complicated if you do not have a software like Interact, but in Interact you could do this very easily. So you are creating new data. You have now a contingency interval, a positive vocalization after a mutual smile. And you can continue this analysis and you can find out what are the mother actions within these contingency interval, and again create new data. And the result is it's exactly what the mother is doing until the child is reacting with a positive vocalization after both smile at each other. So very complicated answer, a very complicated way to find out things, this with a very simple setup by just having 4 very simple codes. So someone coded the video files with just the 4 codes, and then they can really find all this out and create statistics and yeah, work with the data. My plan was now to show you some live functions of the software. So this was just started with a PowerPoint presentation, but I will now switch to the live session of the Interact software, and you can see some of the functions of what can be done with Interact. I don't be focused on the coding, because the coding is the standard functions. So you press keys on the keyboard, smiling, explanation, using a manual, clapping, playing, all these things. But after this, we are now are able to analyze our data, and again I will show you some of the functions within the Interact software. So let's start Interact software. So this is the Interact software, and I've already opened some files. Here we have a mom and child, still face study. Here we have someone who analyzed the structure of conversation of 2 people. And here is an example. If we have a video and you are interested in what the participants said, then you can transcribe everything automatically, or you can use the integrated text analysis. So auto transcribe with Whisper. So when I did this, and then you get an automatic transcription of your video material. So it's no longer needed to manually transcribe everything. Person 1 is saying this, person 2 is saying this, is answering this, and so on. In this case, I've just used this auto transcription tool, and the video was, I don't know, 5 minutes, and it took me around 2 minutes to get this auto transcription. And you can now make a double click, and the video is now playing this file. So it's not needed to transcribe everything manually. Everything can be done automatically. On the other hand, the behavior is something that cannot be done automatically. So this is something that needs to be done manually. So you press keys on the keyboard, and then you create a list with hundreds of different codes. So in this case, someone coded here a video with 2 persons, Susan and Peter, and we have listed who is the speaker, what is the structure of the talk, and what is the function of this talk. So again, this was just a list with hundreds of such events. And if you want to analyze this coding, we have multiple ways to do this. For example, we can visualize everything on a timeline chart. So here we have now a visualization of the same list that you can see in the background. On the left side, we have all the different codes. And to the right, this is the time of the video. So in this case, it's a 12.5 minutes video. And every time you have coded something, it shows you with a colored line. You can zoom in to make a closer look what was happening. So in this case, Peter was the speaker, and the structure was responding, and the function was a clarification. The next one, Susan replied with an initiate structure, and she was requesting some information. behind this visualization, you can get all the statistics. So you can get the frequency, you can get the duration, the minimum duration, the maximum duration, the percentage over time, latency, mean duration, geometric mean, harmonic mean, variance, standard deviation, and so on. So again, first you need to manually code everything with all these different codes, like respond, initiate, provide information, clarification, request information. But then the software gives you all the results and statistics. And if you want to get these statistics in other tools, you can simply copy everything, go to your other tools, place it there, you have it there. Or you can export it as a CSV file or any other ASCII file. So this was the timeline chart. But there are so many other options available in the visualization method. For example, the state space grid is a way to analyze data or to visualize time-based data on an XY coordinate system. So let's use this structure of conversation file, and let's open the state space grid analysis. We want to analyze all our data, and on X we have now the function of the conversation, on Y we have the structure, and now we see a lot of bubbles. For example, this bubble means that the conversation was denial and it was a responding structure. The size of the bubble is an indication of the length of this overlapping, and there is one bubble with the red border, which is here, a little bit hidden. This is the start point of this conversation. And when we play now with the timeline here, then we can see that it started with an initiate request information structure. This was followed by no function, no structure, but then it was a clarification and a responding to this request information gesture. And if I click on play now, then you can see how this video was coded. And if you do this for multiple sessions, for multiple interactions, multiple videos, you can compare them. You can visualize them, compare them. You can have the visualization, you can get the statistics, and you can also get the raw data to make more calculations. So just one way of doing this. There are some other functions and features available in Interact. You can visualize everything. This is the timeline chart you've already saw before, but you can also do a sequence analysis. Means you can exactly see what code is followed by another code. Every time person 1 is doing something, person 2 is reacting with a special behavior. And you exactly see this in this matrix table. You get the sequences, you get joint frequencies, you get transition probabilities, and you get set values. Again, all these statistics can be used in other tools to create publications, papers, posters for a research conference or whatever. Everything information can be used outside of the world of Interact. Another file with a lot of information, that's the file that I showed you before in my initial presentation, the interaction of the mom and the child, where someone coded smiling effects and also the gaze information. So this is the original file where someone coded here 30 mother-infant pairs. And you can remember, very simple setup with the 4 different codes. And we want now to find out, is there a positive vocalization of the infant within 3 seconds after this mutual smile? If you do not have a tool like Interact, this would be extremely complicated, especially if you have 30 mother-infant pairs. So you have a lot of information. You have 30 mother-infant pairs, you have 30 videos. Each video has a length of, I don't know, 20 minutes. So if you do this manually, this will take forever. In Interact, you can use so-called workflows to analyze such data. So we have source document. We start with the co-occurrence analysis to find out the mutual smiling, and then we find out the contingency analysis of the positive vocalization of the infant. And when I run such a workflow, very simple, just say, okay, I want to get a combination of the mom effect, facial effect is smiling, the infant facial effect is smiling, the mom gazes to the infant, and the infant gazes to the mom. So that's the combination of the 4 different codes, and the result is a co-occurrence of mutual smile. Say okay. 398 fragments of co-occurring codes have been found. So can you imagine nearly 400 very small fragments? If you need to do this manually, this takes a very, very long time to find out these things. This was just a few milliseconds. So I say, okay, now we have the contingency because the co-occurrence is already done. Now we do the contingency. After this mutual smile, is there a positive vocalization of the infant within 3 seconds? Okay. Okay. And voila, that's the result. With just 1 second, you will get everything. So you can exactly see for all the 30 participants, videos, whatever, how often is there a positive vocalization after a common smile. So that's how you play with your data, how you create new data out of your original data set. There are multiple other ways of using such workflows, so you can combine every available statistic or every available function in Interact to create a chain of different analysis functions and really analyze your data, create new data, create new publications, new studies to find out everything. So this is how you turn your data into real results, what I mentioned in the beginning. Other ways of analyzing data, kappa calculation. If you have a real project and you want to create a publication or a poster at a conference, for example, and you need to video code and analyze the behavior with coding videos, it's a must that everything have been collected correctly. That means that you need 2 people who are coding the same video material, and you need to find out did they really code the same things. It's a proof of your data quality. And to do this, you can do this with integrated reliability calculation based on Cohen's kappa. It's a very simple setup. So let's close these files. Let's use this mom-child dose phase study. Let's open another file. So this was file from coder number 1. This was the file from coder number 2. And let's change something here. Let's change this one from smile to surprise, and this one also from smile to surprise. And now let's do the kappa calculation. You can change the settings, means what is a match, what is a mismatch, what is the tolerance window of this calculation. But I let everything on standard. I just say okay. So for the infant facial effect, everything is green, everything is fine, and the kappa value is 1 because it's just a copy. But I made a change at the mom facial effect. So let's switch to this mount facial effect. And here the kappa value is lower. It's 0.99151. So nearly perfect because I just made two very small changes. So with just a few mouse clicks, you have a complete calculation of Cohen's kappa to do some integrated reliability, which again is needed for scientific projects if you have videos and you want to code videos. As I mentioned before, it is also possible to use any Python script that is available in the internet. And as you might know, there are thousands of different ways, different scripts available on the internet. So this offers nearly unlimited amount of options and ways to analyze your data outside of Interact. Again, we have already included a lot of functions here. Means you can transform your data, do the text analysis, analyze your data, create new statistics, but it's a limited amount of different ways to visualize everything. That's why it's open to the world of Python, and you can use any Python script. For example, let's use this mom-child project. And one way would be, for example, to create a Sankey chord diagram. And when I click on this symbol here, then we are leaving the Interact software and switching to the internet to a Python script that is available there. So I click on this one. Let's interact with all our data. So we want to include all our different codes, and we want to do this for all our 30 subjects, all our 30 videos, for example. So okay, then it will take a few seconds to open the world of Python. Here we are. That's the Sankey chart. So this is just a visualization of what codes are followed by other codes. For example, the mom vocalization. Here. The positive vocalization of the mom is followed by another vocalization of the mom. It's followed by gaze information and so on. So it's just a way to visualize your data, and you can use these functions to get single data, or you can get all your data. So that's just an example of the Python integration. Other option would be to use, for example, a so-called box plot diagram. The same idea. Let's click on this one. Let's include all data. Let's include all our videos. And here we have the box plots diagram. And you can click on in to get some more information about what is calculated here. You can select data from frequency to the duration, or from percentage over time, or whatever you want to do. That opens the world of video coding to the world of Python, and you have nearly an unlimited amount of different analysis functions to analyze your data. Just a second. So again, we have here our file. We have here ways to visualize everything. We have options to create statistics and find out new data, but it could also be necessary to integrate any other data, like any physiology data. So for example, if you have devices to measure heart rate, skin conductance, EEG, respiration, whatever, and if you want to get this in combination with the video recording, then this is something you can also do with the Interact software. The only major challenge in this case is that the video needs to be in sync with your physiology data. So you need to take care that when you start the recording of your videos, the recording of your physiology data will be at the same time. This is possible with a professional lab setup that can be done with a Mangold setup. But if you do not have such a setup, and if you have camcorders and external devices, then you need to manually synchronize these data, which is possible, but which is maybe a little bit tricky. But again, it's possible. So in our case, we have here um, our data. Um, we have here, for example, a video file. The video doesn't really belong to this file, but it's just that we have a video, and we can open our physiology data. So here we have, for example, acceleration data, EKG, EMG, breathe, heart frequency, whatever. And when I click on play, then the video will run. We could see this in the timeline chart. And we could also see this in our physiology data. So you can see that we have here on the right side, we have the video. This video picture belongs to this point in our manual codings, and this belongs to exactly this point in our physiology data. And now we can go frame by frame through our video material. We see our video, we see our manual codings, and we see any kind of external measurements. So and then we can take a look at the external measurements, and when we see that the heart rate is reaching a special level, we can be focused on the video file, and we can take a closer look to see what was happening there 2 seconds before. Why is the heart rate reaching a special level, or is it raising or going up or down, whatever. And you can also say to the Mangold data view software, please automatically create events in Interact every time one of these values is reaching a special level. So this automatically opens the world of video coding, because you can automatically get some results in Interact, and then you can take a closer look what was happening there, what was the real behavior behind this physiology measurements. Yeah, there are multiple ways to analyze your data. I just showed you some very simple things. So first you need to code everything, the boring part, but then you can use different ways to analyze your data. For example, the integrated reliability, the contingency analysis, the co-occurrence analysis, the state space grid analysis. You can get your sequence data. You can get any Python script included. It would be possible to create highlight videos based on your codings. So you can say from the original video, which with a length of, for example, 1 hour, please automatically create new video clips with all the scenes where I have coded that person one is giving a positive vocalization. And this video highlight can be shared with your colleagues, with the participants, with at a conference, at your publication, or whatever. So this is also something you can do. Yeah, I'm now at the end of this quick overview about what is possible with the Interact software. As you might imagine, there are hundreds of different other options that can be done. So again, the idea is coding and then use the codes for creating your statistics, your analysis functions, instead of using paper and pencil or Excel. So I'm now open for all your questions, or if you need more explanation, I'm available.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon.
Hello.
It was really wonderful. I think it was really a nice introduction to all of us to this area. So, a lot to learn in the uh, aspect. So, just a question of my side is what all parameters can we use in this codings? Like here, few examples were on facial emotions, expressions, and vocalizations. So, what other things can we use in for coding?
Um, Regarding the coding itself, there's no limitation. You can do whatever you want. Uh, so again, it can be a very simple setup with just activities or some talking or emotions. But we also have users who are, for example, analyzing uh, facial expressions based on a fax coding system, so facial action coding system. In this case, they use around about 500 different codes at the same time to analyze every muscle in the face. So again, there's no limitation regarding what codes to be used, but you need to be aware of that someone needs to do this and that someone needs to use these codes. So if you have a very complicated setup, it will be very time consuming to code everything. That's why the recommendation is keep it simple, use just a very simple coding system, and then let Interact do the work and find combination of different things.
Okay. So the data set available for coding should be there first, right? So before we do the analysis, so that is inbuilt available, or we need to do it based on the parameters which we take up.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on your research project, but you
Okay.
need to create a coding system. That's maybe the biggest challenge before
Yes,
doing video
biggest
coding
challenge.
and video analysis. You need to think about what codes are relevant for you, what codes are
Correct.
necessary. And then
Yeah.
the second challenge is um, if you have multiple coders, if, for example, if you analyze a code smiling, it is a lot of, it sounds very simple, just code wherever someone is smiling. But if someone is just changing the head or something or the mouse, is it a smiling or is it just is he nervous or whatever? So it's a lot of interpretation things. So you need to train your coders what is what is a code. And to do this, you can use, for example, the integrator reliability calculation. Means you can create a master coding with a perfect coding, and then let your coders code the same things, and then compare it with the master coding to train
Okay.
them.
Okay. Okay, so more relevant to our field, we will be having is the language analysis or the spoken analysis, which we need to do. In most of the disordered population, would be more useful to us, especially like in autism, ADHD, and such uh, population. So that would be of research interest for us. So if there is
Yeah.
anything related to that, or like anything has
So
been done. Oh,
the other challenge is because you mentioned autism research. So if you have autistic children, it's also not that easy to video record everything, because if you have 2 or 3 cameras next to them, it's maybe
correct.
distracting. So you need to find a setup where the video cameras are not that visible or maybe a little bit hidden, or to feel comfortable for your
Yes.
participants.
Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. It was a nice
You're welcome.
presentation. Thank you very much.
So if someone has later on questions, I'm pretty sure that they can also be forwarded to me and I can answer by email, for your information.
Yes, sir. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Reinhard Grassl for taking his time to share his knowledge and insights with us today. Your continued support since 2013 has been invaluable to our research community. We are truly grateful for your contributions and look forward to future collaborations. A big thank you to our head HOD for their constant support, and the Dean of Registrar of Yanapur deemed to be University for their guidance and encouragement in making this webinar possible. Also want to thank all the participants, including faculties from various institutions, for your active involvement. Your presence truly made this event a success. Our IT team, led by Mr. Deepak, was there to assist us from the beginning. Special thanks to Mr. Deepak and his team for their ongoing technical support in carrying out this webinar. Thank you and have a great day. Also, before we conclude, I'm pleased to announce that there is another webinar, Emerging Technologies for Sustainable Healthcare, on 22nd August 2024 from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We hope to see you all there. And all participants will receive an e-certificate for attending today's session. We kindly request you all to fill out the feedback form, which will be shared shortly at the end of this meet. Your feedback is invaluable in helping us improve future sessions. Thank you all for joining us today. Stay safe and have a good day. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for organizing everything, and yeah, have a great day to everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye.